Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Or probably when I post this the day after Thanksgiving. We read chapter 1, so it is time to head over to chapter 2. I took a peek at it and I saw it was titled Robert, which makes me very excited because, you know, Bob the Tomato, aka Robert. So that's great. So I have a feeling this is going to be Bob the Tomato related. I do not have a bookmark, so I'm using this Burn and Dairy receipt as a bookmark. All right, here we go. Chapter 2, Robert. The warm evening sun shatters through the canopy of leaves overhead and splinters into my eye. The iterating rays bringing me out of my head and to the realization that several hours have passed. Fuck, I think to myself. I've got a sermon to write. It's an old thought, the curse word, coupled with the duty to spread God's word, but I can't help it. Meow. Hello, Carolyn. No matter how hard I pray, I can't scrub the words thrown around my childhood home from my brain. Growing up in a family riddled with poverty, broken marriages, abuse, and crime will do that to a person. Luckily, I'm able to keep my dirty words and thoughts to myself, at least most of the time, and never in front of my congregation. I lean down to pick a ripe and juicy tomato, giving it a tender squeeze before placing it in my basket of other vegetables from the parish garden. It's been 3 hours since I set out to collect produce for tonight's dinner. I'm a shit cook, but we've had to make do since our cook left 2 weeks ago. He met a woman and moved to Spain to be with her. For old Francis' sake, I hope it's legit. But when it's 5 p.m. and I'm fucking up spaghetti sauce, I secretly hope he landed in Madrid to find a beautiful young woman he'd been talking to is really a 40-year-old computer nerd with a boil. It's a horrible thought, but the devil gets in my brain when I'm hungry. Thankfully, Gail informed us we will have a new cook tomorrow. Hurrah. Maybe then I won't be distracted by the earth's beauty and finally get my mind on the Lord's word. Have you seen my hairbrush? Sorry, I can't help it. Oh my God. Oh, where is my hairbrush? Oh, where is my hairbrush? Sorry, I got way too excited. Have you seen my hairbrush? Laurent yells across the field from the back kitchen door. I whip my attention to him as he rushes towards me, all legs and arms flailing behind his tall form. I shake my head while he's still several paces away. He sulks, looking up at the clouds, screaming, "Oh, where is my hairbrush?" I laugh at his dramatics before walking towards him. You'd think after all the years we've known each other, his over-the-top performances due to minor inconveniences would get under my skin, but alas, Laurent never bores me. His constant humor spills from his pores and has a way of melting into the cracks of my hard exterior. Robert, oh Robert, he falls against me. out of breath and gripping on my shoulder. Look at me, I'm a mess. He throws the back of his hand over his eyes. What will the patrons think when they see my incurable bedhead? I push him off me, and he sputters into a laugh. I doubt anyone will notice once they hear my sermon. Oh, come on. You are a beautiful speaker. He swings his arms over me, kissing the top of my brown curly head. You can't keep comparing yourself to my divine public speaking skills. I push him off me, and he stumbles with a laugh. I smile and shake my head. I know I'm a brilliant speaker. I just haven't had time to write a sermon. I've been too busy playing a fucking housewife. Okay, maybe I don't always hide my dirty mouth. At least not with Laurent. Oh, don't pull that shit. Have you seen the kitchen? If you were my wife, I'd fire you last week. I'm thankful my partner, priest, has as much, if not more, of a naughty mouth as I do. Life would be rather drab in this quiet country parish without Laurent to banter with. Hello, baby boy. It's good to see you. Would you like to come snuggle? Hi. Meow. What do you think? What do you think? I laugh and shove him. He stumbles, grabbing my arm and pulling me to the damp earth. I fall next to him, laughing as I look up at the sky, melting into the crimson hues amongst the puff of white clouds. Our laughs die down, and I settle into the peace of the moment. Birds chirp in the distance. The smell of freshly cut grass whiffs around me, and the cool breeze dries the sweat off my brow. Laurent White quiets next to me, and his hand rubs against mine, lazily brushing tender touches against my fingers. I must be so exhausted from being out in the sun, and so at peace now that I don't have to register his intimate touch, instead of leaning into it, splaying out of my hand for his finger to dance across my flesh. My mind wanders as if about to drift off into a dream. Laurent and I have been best friends since seminary school. We've been afraid to touch each other in friendly mannered rubbing shoulders, fake skin kisses on the head, arms intertwined, normal bloke exchanges. I can't deny the zap of electricity that zips through me every time his skin meets mine, but I attribute the sensation to the lack of physical touch in my 15 years as a priest, and even more before that. God knows my parents never offered me affection, and I never enjoyed my romantic relationships with women. However fleeting they may have been, making the decision to become a priest to flee a life of disparity and sin an easy choice. I can't deny that I've had thoughts, carnal, heated thoughts, that creep through me when I least expect it. God tests his strongest soldiers, and I'm not spared from his temptation. Seminary school. Oh, hi, Boke. At this part, I just really want to have that one song playing. His hands pressed up against him, and he left it there. Told him, and they locked in stairs, and then to sit back and thought about it. What shit they do, because there's always repercussions when you're dating at school. And now he wants to grab her by the hair and tell her, I want to hold you close, skin pressed against me tight, lie still, close your eyes, girl, so lovely, it feels so right. I want to hold you close, soft breath beating hard as I whisper in your ear, I want to fucking tear you apart. Okay. God tests his strongest soldiers, and I'm not spared from his temptation. Seminary school challenged me for multiple reasons. Late night study sessions, lack of sleep, or time to eat. But a darker need presented itself to me. Images of naked flesh intertwined with mine. Men and women piqued these primal interests. And I found it hard to keep my thoughts at bay or my hands away from the pounding between my legs. Laurent and I had been roommates at school. He came from a well-off family in the south of France. He was well born in America, to an American family, but had spent most of his life dripping with culture, fine wine, and a loving family surrounding him on the sandy shores of Nice. It puzzled me how he ended up in seminary school. Not that I believed priesthood was only fit for men who lived a bleak life, but Laurent seemed to have it all. Money, dashing good looks, a loving family. He could have gotten married and lived a life surrounded by love without ever feeling the sting of loneliness. He'd said that despite everything his rich life had to offer, there was always something missing, a purpose his life seemed to lack. He'd never felt so complete until he started seminary school and became my roommate. That's so deep.
Bonjour, this is Julian, the Frenchman who makes French pronunciation videos here on YouTube, and we are looking at how to pronounce this French name. How do you say it in French in France? For reference, it is said as Laurent. Laurent. The T is silent. In English, it'd be fine to say it as Laurent. Laurent. From French,
Laurent. So the T is supposed to be silent.
Did you get this? Was this
I should have looked that up before I read this far.
Thank you kindly for your...
Laurent. Laurent. I'm not going to say that right. Okay. Laurent. We found ourselves in a precarious situation more than once. We'd never talked about it out loud. But now, laying in the grass, letting our mind drift to wherever it chose. Laying in the grass and letting my mind drift to wherever it chooses to land. I can't help but think about one of those nights when it was dark and quiet, but the air was thick with something you can't name. My mind raced with images of mouths on skin, the sound of thrusting in and out of the dark, and delicious places. My hand found its way around my throbbing cock, trying my best to be quiet as I rubbed myself desperately. Oh my goodness. Bob, you dirty boy. Let's see this fucker. This is how big I picture Bob's cock to be. Because he is that man. Laurent. Am I saying that right? I'm probably gonna have so many people mad at me. Actually, I don't have that many subscribers, but I'm gonna have at least one person be mad at me for my pronunciation in the comments. But I'm not, well, I am French, but I don't know how to speak French. I am just a girl, and I don't know how to pronounce French words. Laurent. I know him as Larry, but I'm not going to say Larry because that's not what is written down in the book. I'm doing the best I can here. Okay. Let's see. Images of mouth on skin. Found ways around my throbbing cock. Try my best. Rub myself desperately. Laurent was a light sleeper, and when I heard rustling coming from his bed, only a few feet away from mine, I couldn't help but divert my gaze to him. Staring back at me, eyes dark and intent, his hands hid under his blankets, moving up and down, his lips parted, and soft moans escaped him. I should have stopped then, apologized, confessed my sins to my priest, and requested we separate as roommates. But I didn't. I didn't stop. I kept my eyes locked with his, jerking myself off until we both finished and closed our eyes out, and euphoria never opening them until the end of the next morning. Let's reenact this. This one is Larry, Laurent, and then we got Robert, and they're both on different ends of their bedrooms. They're just whacking it. They're whacking it, and they're having a great time while they're whacking it, and they're in love with each other, and they're whacking it. But they can't confess their true loves because they're in the church, and you can't be gay in the church, which is a real shame because true love. It only happened a handful of times, and once we graduated, we both got positions at this countryside parish up in the mountains and far away from civilization. We had our own rooms and never found ourselves in that sinful situation ever again. The road to godlessness isn't always straight or narrow. At least, that's what I tell my patrons. I just needed time to grow into my destiny. Here at this parish with my best friend, my life is peaceful and full of joy, even if sometimes, still in the dead of night, I can't help but admit that my mind wanders. But I can keep those thoughts at bay now. I don't need to act on them. A crow caws nearby, snapping my eyes open and bringing awareness to my hand, intertwined with Laurent's. I sit up, pulling my hand away and startling the sleeping Laurent beside me. I better get to the kitchen. These vegetables aren't going to come to life and make themselves useful. Well, that's what you think. I stand brushing the grass off my slacks. Laurent smiles and puts his hands behind his head, revealing the veiny undersides of his muscled arms. He grins up at me, the light reflecting in his hazel eyes, the wind blowing through his golden hair. I imagine God crafted him in the image of his most beloved angel, his face so chiseled that sometimes I want to reach out and touch it just to make sure it's real and not made of marble. Maybe if we pray hard enough, God will make our produce come to life and cook itself. He smiles. That would sure creep me the fuck out. Instead, let's pray that this new cook coming tomorrow is decent. Sorry, that's the best Bob and Larry impression I can do. I'm not good at voices. Ask my play director. That's why I only get background roles. Decent. Laurent sits up. I'm praying for more than that. Ye of little faith, my God is bigger than the boogeyman. He will deliver us the most amazing cook that'll ever walk this earth. That's how big my faith in him is. I extended my hand and pulled him to his feet, ignoring the warmness spreading through my body from the contact. Don't test God, Laurent. Fucked up things happen when people do that. And that is chapter 2. I'm so happy that we got Smut this early on and that it was from my 2 favorite boys. I was afraid this was going to be one of those things where it was literally going to be a lady fucking vegetables that came to life, but it wasn't. It's hello. It is human versions of Bob and Larry and what their lives might have been like, and them dealing with religious trauma while being gay and being into each other. I love how it's actually super heartwarming. This is a good book. This is a solid book. I want to read more, but I'm going to wait because I want to not read the whole thing all at once. I want this book to last as long as possible. It's already not a huge book, and I know I'm going to be really sad when I finish it. Yeah, that is it for today. Happy holidays. I'm going to be 26 soon. This was my birthday present to myself, was this book, and I'm very glad I got it because it has made my heart very happy. Even if I only got to read these 2 chapters, that would have been enough for me to be happy and worth the $13. This is a great book, and I love it, and I just started reading it. I don't see how GM Fairy could ruin it by any means. We'll see. I'm not even halfway through the book, obviously, so yeah. Yeah?
Would you play Magic if I got you this deck box?
Yes.
That's extremely creative.
I think this chapter did a very good job with depicting what it's like to have sexual, sexual repression because of religious trauma, and feeling like any kind of sexual thought or action is a sin, especially gay ones. So the chapter really reminded me of the time I was in high school and I was doing a campus tour. Keep in mind, I'm a pastor's daughter, and I grew up in a very conservative, very religious family. that was not so friendly to the gays. And I knew deep down that I was gay, but I had never really confronted that fact. Like, I knew it, but you know, whatever. Never really affected my day-to-day life.
Still haven't tried it.
And the first time I really had, I would say, like, a gay panic was at the campus tour, because I'd never, like, I'd had crushes on girls before, but nothing like that really, like, noticed me. It was just sort of like oh, yeah, I kind of think she's cute, but she's really homophobic, so I know that would never happen. Plus, like, I can't ever be with women because God thinks that's a sin. And I, you know, just sort of, like, considered my gay side my sinful side. And you got to cut that out, kind of like how Robert was doing in the chapter, where you think of your gay thoughts as a sin that you have to overcome. And so, I never had it that bad. But when I was on this tour, it was the first time I think I'd ever seen, like, a lot of girls who were older than me that weren't directly blood related to me. And I'm just, you know, chilling, blah, blah, blah. And one girl just comes up to me, and I don't remember exactly what she said. I think it was just sort of like oh, hi, you doing a tour? And I just fully, like, felt my heart drop, because I'd never seen a girl so pretty in my life. Like, she was gorgeous. She had just these long braids that were, like, braided with, like, purple and pink, and just these giant brown eyes, and she just was, like, tall and graceful, and I was like, why is she talking to me? And I felt so guilty, because I had a boyfriend at the time, and I had never had, like, a heart jump out of your system moment in any of the times I'd seen him, as I did with this random girl that I don't know. And all she did was, like, say hi to me. And that made me feel really guilty. Plus, I shouldn't be having gay thoughts to begin with. And I thought, like, my thoughts are sinful, and I'm also cheating on my boyfriend by having these gay thoughts about this random woman who came up to me and is asking me about tour questions on this college tour. And I just completely fumbled. I think I just said a lot. And eventually she was gone. And I went home and I cried a lot. And then I confessed to my boyfriend, after crying a lot, what I had done. And he just was like, yeah, you're bisexual. That doesn't matter. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. And looking back at that, it's so frustrating, because I would have not cried my eyes out or had all these really horrible thoughts about myself if I hadn't been in the church that had taught me that having a gay thought is such a bad thing. Whereas, like, seeing a girl and thinking that she's pretty is so normal. Yeah, I really relate to Bob. That was the point I was trying to make. It was very, very well done.